Hello there. Listen, if you've got a big pile of gel prints sitting around the house and you have no idea what to do with them, you're like a lot of us. In this video, I'd like to show you a formulaic way to create a collage with your gel prints. It's based on a grid system. It's easy to learn. Some requires a little bit of patience, but you can get some really interesting results, and I made 3 of them. So I'd like to show you what I've been up to, and if it's interesting to you, let's go. Let's take a look at what I've gathered here, which is a series of prints that I have. They're all on copy paper. I think everything here might be copy paper. I've trimmed off the white edges, one less thing to do. And I've gathered them roughly into groups that I like together, although I'm already looking at them and seeing that they need some contrast. But that's the plan. So I've got some really interesting textures here that seem to be happy together. They're going to need some friends. A bunch of prints that you'll probably recognize from a series that I did the other day. And here's what's left over from a project that I did probably as long as a year ago. These are 4-inch little pieces of gel print that I have chopped up into little 4-inch squares. And the reason I did that was because I was obsessed with this project, which are 4-inch canvases with the edges painted black that I have decoupaged these tiny little 4-inch squares on them. I freaking love these. The artist who I learned this from is called Pamhemmerling, and her colors are my colors. I really like this girl's work. So this was the inspiration for this, but I'm going to take it a little bit further and do 3 collages on 11 by 14 inch canvas boards that I bought at the Dollar Tree. They are a little bit warpy, but you know, for experimentation and for learning how things work, they are perfect. So the plan is to create a series of 3 collages using these gathered materials. I'm going to create them in a grid, which is a simple way to design. And then once I've got a background done, I can respond to the background by adding elements over it and working at the very end. I'll do some pen work, which I really enjoy doing. So if that's interesting to you, that's the plan-io, and we'll get started. If you've ever watched anyone collage before, you know that it's interesting mixed with, oh my God, just put the piece down, will you? So there's going to be a fair amount of this. So this will most likely be edited to take you through the process before it gets dark out. It's 3:30 right now. I got started a little late because I was procrastinating. I am going to start I'm just going to choose a package and see what's inside of it. Usually I have a tendency to group them by colorway. So I guess I just want to see what's in here. This looks like it's going to take a month or maybe longer. Do I just keep? All right, just keep going. Just keep going. These are lovely. I love these. All right, so I've gathered up a bunch of things that please my eye, and I am going to just throw them down. You can see they're a little bit large, but like I said, paper. I'm just going to throw them down and see what I come up with. My instincts tell me that I want this to be fairly monochromatic, and maybe I embellish with this, but let's see how that goes. And again, if this is tedious, if I find it tedious, I suspect you will as well, and I'll move through it a little bit more quickly. These really are very matchy, but you know what? I like that. Okay, this is not thoughtful, and I'll probably change it around, but I don't mind the way those feel together, and I can always put lighter, more textured things on top. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'll tell you, this has caught my eye because this is printed on deli paper and it's black and white, so that means anything I glue this down on top of is going to show through. I'm going to glue these down. I'm going to figure out how I want to. I don't want to spend a lot of time cutting them out, so watch me glue, okay? All right, so off camera, I have been diddling with this, and if I'm going to do that, I might as well do it on camera and do it on speed dial if it turns out to be tedious, which it will be. So I spent a couple of hours this week responding to comments that you guys leave on my videos, which I have to tell you, you guys are freaking awesome. Some of the things that you say are so kind and so supportive. It's very, very encouraging, and I never expected that. I knew I wanted to share my work, but I did not know that it was going to be so well received. And you guys even seem to like it when I talk all the time, which I can tell you not everybody in my life is happy about that, but it's how I came out. I can't, it's how I came out. I don't know how to be another way. I need a catalyst wedge. You guys don't have one of these things. It's soft, softer than a credit card, and it lays things down very nicely. And I'm very happy that I have one. I'll overlap things. I'll figure out how I'm going to get them into the grid, because I mentioned in an earlier video that some of you may have not seen that my background as an abstract designer, as an abstract artist, began digitally on a platform called Polyvore, where I worked with pretty much lots of rugs. I like pictures of rugs. They were very textural and stuff. So I worked with found images and created collages that, because I was working with rectangular images, had the feel, oh, this is making me happy already, had the feel of being like a quilt. And I was a quilter. I actually call myself a recovering quilter, because you know how you can get completely obsessed with craft supplies and paint and all kinds of stuff? Yeah, I did that with fabric as well, and fabric is a lot more expensive. But already this thing is making me a little bit happy, because I like the order of these rectangles. I like the way these pieces play together. I'm enjoying the process, which I avoided just by the way I mentioned that I was procrastinating or avoiding or whatever I said I was doing. I was I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to do it. I know you guys think I'm hard on myself, and I am, but I was having performance anxiety. I think I've gotten over it. It's just a thing I do. Newsprint is very forgiving. It's soft. It's very absorbent. It's thin. It goes down very easy. I really like working with it as well. And you know, a lot of artists will mention something like archival. I'm just using a little bit of water to wet my hand. They'll mention archival, whatever. I'm not going to end up in any kind of museum. I'm not worried about archive. I'm worried about having a good time and making art that I enjoy looking at and that other people enjoy looking at. So I use paper towels, I use copy paper, I use a newsprint. None of those things are meant to last, but it's not like I'm going to be around forever. Aw, did you see that? Let's see if I can repair it. The tricky thing about working with a grid is you do have to be aware of the straightness of your line, because you don't see it when you're sitting this close to it, but you do start to see it after you get some distance. Okay, I'm going to set this aside and let this dry. And actually, I am looking at the clock right now, and my daylight is getting ready to fade, and I don't use a light in my studio because I have such good lighting. So I'll pick this up tomorrow and move on to the next thing. But let's just take a look at what I've done here, which I have to tell you I'm kind of happy about. I don't love every single thing about it, but I never love every single thing about what I do. Little roll, make sure all the glue is not bubbling up. If you get, some of you may know this, but others may not, if you get bubbles in your papers being glued down, just let them dry. Take a sharp knife, cut a hole, slip some glue inside of it and glue it back down. It's pretty forgiving. Okay, so this is my first piece. Kind of a little bit makes me happy. I'm particularly fond of this piece. I don't know where I'm going to go with this. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but I like what it is right now. And I am looking forward tomorrow to figuring out what the next piece is going to be. So I'll be back. BRB. Okay, remember how I told you I was going to be back tomorrow? That was totally fake news. This is 3 days later. It just didn't work out for me, guys. I wanted to come back, but I couldn't make it happen. Now I'm on my second, and I have started sorting through these papers off camera because the process is, if you guys have done this, you know it takes forever to kind of figure out what things go together, but I think I've narrowed it down to a handful of things that look happy together. And now I just have to figure out how I'm going to composition these. And just as an aside, a lot of people recommended that I keep my gel plate here and use it to stick this down. I did that before and I could not get it off, but the last one that I did the other day came off, but it left a big grease print on the back. So it's the back. I guess it really doesn't matter. All right, I have pulled together, I've sorted through a lot of these papers trying to pull together some things that are happy together, because you can see it's way too much information to do on camera. Okay, look at this thing, guys. So it's just a little window I create when I'm doing, because I do a lot of this kind of square grid collage stuff. I've been trying to resist it, but you know what? I enjoy it, and so I should just allow myself to do what I enjoy. But look at how nicely I can frame something if I'm looking for, you know, something that'll tie these two together. I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it through this thing. So I'm not going to do that right this minute. I just want to get started laying some things out and see where that might end up. Okay, I'm going to just assemble for a while without talking, because I think it'll be easier. So listen to my brother Russell, who plays guitar like a freaking angel. I'll turn it down really low so it's not distracting. So what I'm struggling with right now is I have a lot of pattern on here, and I really like to draw on things, and this is I can't, if I add more to this, it'll be overwhelming. I'm trying to figure out how to quiet this down. Right now I'm having a tendency, and I do this a lot, sometimes when I focus on color, then scale kind of falls to the wayside, and I think I'm focused on color right now, and I should better be focused on scale. So give me a couple minutes, guys. I'm going to speed dial through this because this is long. Okay, I've been digging around, and I found a couple of things that are solid enough to be able to quiet this stuff down. I'm going to just go back to sorting through things, guys, and I'll talk once I've got it figured out. Okay, I found this, and I like it. I like the fact that it's solid. I like the fact that it's got a little bit of a yellow in it. I don't know where it's going to end up. So I'm going to go silent for a little while, guys, and I'll be back. All right, I'm going to force myself to stop because really this could go on for days. Any of you that do collage, you know that eventually you just have to give up and just say, okay, this is the way I'm going to go. So this is the way I'm going to go unless I change my mind, because there's always that. So I'm going to cut these up smaller off camera to spare you, and I will be back. Okay, these are chopped up, and I have no confidence that they're going to get glued on in the order in which they are presented right now, because I keep changing them up. I'm just going to glue it down, guys. And you know how boring that is to watch, so I'll go through it pretty quickly. So all of the Burlingtons, there are 3 of us. It's me, my brother Russell, my sister Dina. Dina's the baby. Russell is, I'm the oldest. I'm the experimental child. We all have a face that we wear. I'm sure some of you can relate to this. As a warning signal. When someone is pushing their luck, I have a single eyebrow that goes up. It's an involuntary response. I've seen it on my face before. And it is absolutely a warning that whatever is taking place right now better stop. And I don't like it when I get that way because I'm mostly a pretty nice person, but I'm not perfect. So my brother has seen that look on my face, and I've seen a similar one on his. So when I was growing up, my family did not call me Cherie. My family called me Sherry. Cherie is my way too fancy for a woman my age name, my proper pronunciation of my name. But I grew up as a Sherry. And when I am pushing my brother's luck, and I am probably in danger, he lowers his head and looks at me and calls me Sherry, which means that I'm in trouble. But you know what? He will often get the same look back. It's sort of the look you see on dogs that are daring each other to make a move. So I didn't like my brother very much for a long time, and you know what? He didn't like me. He didn't like me either. But we're friends now, although every once in a while we do push each other's boundaries, but he has been an awesome brother. He fixed up a bunch of motorcycles for me because he's a motorcycle mechanic, and when I crash them, which I have, unfortunately, he gets them back on the road again and tries to mentor me through my shame. And right now, this story's going in a completely different direction. Right now, I am waiting for him to rebuild a 2000 Kawasaki, 2000 Kawasaki Vulcan. It's a cruiser. This was something that he got from the place where he worked. Someone abandoned it and never picked it up again. And they gave it to Russell just to get it out of the warehouse. And the reason I'm going to end up with it is because I have another bike right now, which is something also that Russell fixed up and got for me, which is a Suzuki. It's called a Suzuki Boulevard. And it's quite large for me. I'm kind of a skinny old gal. So he got this motorcycle for me in 2021 when I was in the deepest depression that you can imagine. I was about as depressed as you could possibly be during that. I was isolated to a degree that I've never felt in my life before. So I contacted my brother and I said, you know what, I might need another motorcycle. I stopped riding right around the time that Neil died, not because he died. I stopped riding because I stopped enjoying it. Because any of you guys that are out there who do ride, you know that the world is highly distracted. People are driving down the street, eating lunch and talking on their phone at the same time. It is the day that I decided to stop riding was the day I started trying to go to my little studio. And I had 4 near misses before I got 3 miles down the street. And I said, you know what, this is it for me. So I got back on a motorcycle right around 2020, 2021, and I really, really enjoy it. And I have a friend, Pam, my friend Pam with the missing, sorry, Pam, my friend Pam with the missing front tooth. I told that story in another video. So this Boulevard is a really big bike, and I have dropped it. I'm embarrassed to tell you guys this story. Do not judge me in the comments, please, because this is not something I'm proud of. But it explains why I'm getting a new motorcycle. it is a big bike for me, but you know what? It's low, and I'm tall, so I can reach everything. But when you go to take a turn, right or left, but problem for me is usually right, and when I'm going up a hill from a stop, and I need to take a sharp right turn, I get nervous. I stall, and that motorcycle slaps me down onto the ground like you can't even believe. I've had my ribs broken 3 times, and it's it's very frustrating because every time I get them broken, I don't want to ride again. I'm embarrassed, and I'm afraid. And it's not that I'm afraid to die. What I'm afraid of is to be in the hospital. After I threw it down the last time where I got really badly hurt, I probably should have gone to a doctor, but that's another thing about stubborn Cherie. I don't go to doctors. Even when I'm like probably going to die, I don't go to doctors. This is coming out really cute, huh? So after the last time that I got thrown down and I couldn't ride for almost a month, and I could barely ride then, I went to my brother and shamefacedly said, I'm thinking about giving up riding. And he said, nope, you're not giving up riding. He pulled out this other motorcycle, and when I took it I didn't take it for a test drive because it's not running yet, but when I took it for a ride, not a ride, stood it up in the parking lot, his driveway, it was like a lightweight. It's like I could throw it right over my shoulder. So he's going to fix that thing up for me and sell my big bike so I can stop crashing and burning and frightening my friends and embarrassing myself. So that's what's going on with me and motorcycles. I'm not ready to give up. I really enjoy it, and the idea of not riding would be just very depressing for me. So I don't know if any of you guys out there ride, but I've been riding since 1987, which was the year I got sober. I was 32. And you have to remember, I'm from New Hampshire. We're pretty conservative here. And in that long ago, there were no women on motorcycles. The streets are filled with women on motorcycles now, but back then it just wasn't done. Women didn't ride motorcycles. When I got the big idea, I grew up around motorcycles with my dad. When I got the big idea that I wanted to get my license, my friends and family, not so much my family, but my friends were having a conniption. I was hearing things like, you're too feminine to ride a motorcycle, which doesn't make any sense at all. So my first motorcycle was way too big for me. And I began my history of dropping my motorcycle everywhere I went in 1987 when I was noticed by everybody because I was a girl on a motorcycle. So let's see if I can remember this, because I used to forget to put my feet down. In the middle of an intersection in my hometown, the top of my friend's driveway, in the Burger King parking lot, leaving a party. Those are the ones that I can remember. I used to forget to put my feet down, or it was too big. So if the ground sloped off even a little bit, it was curtains for me. It was too bad. So yeah, so I have a long history of falling off my motorcycle, and you'd think I'd have given up by now, but you know what, guys? It's really fun. It's really, really fun. The things that I've done and been through in my life, I should write a book, but I just don't have that much time left in life to get a book written. I've done a few things, and you know what? It hasn't all been fun, but it's been okay. Retirement for me was not awesome because I was forced into retirement. I was not ready to retire. I lost my business. I lost my home. I lost everything to 2020, which would explain why I hated it so much. But I'm not alone. I'm like, oh, poor Cherie. A lot of people lost everything. It's a very, very difficult time for all of us. And looking back, it was horrible to go through, but you know what? I'm really happy now because even though I had to sell everything and give everything away and do all of those things that I didn't want to do, I really like where I am. I live in a little tiny 672 square foot mobile home in a little tiny town in New Hampshire where everybody pretty much knows everybody and went to school together and stuff. And I'm the transplant from the big city. But it's a nice town. I'm just reaching for water. When you guys see me go off camera like that, I'm reaching for water just to smooth this out a little bit. Try to force it into submission. So in order to have survived that, I had to get rid of everything and move into this little tiny house. But you know what? It's got a studio. It's got an extra bedroom that's 7 by 10, so I have a studio, for which I am highly grateful. And it is adorable, and it's exactly the right size for me, and not an inch bigger. It's exactly like twin bed small guys. So, you know, yeah, she's going to be flying solo for a long time because there's no room in this house for anybody else. But I love it. I'm grateful all the time that I have this house because it's exactly the right size for me and all the things that I own, which is not much any longer. I got rid of a lot of stuff. So I'm happy. I'm happy, and I was cast adrift for a real long time, and I was self-employed. I had a creative business. Had an awesome, loyal employee who made it possible for me to stay in business for almost a little over 17 years, actually. And she was a hard worker, and she was loyal to me, and she's one of my closest friends now. And giving that up, I didn't know what to do with myself. I'm a project-driven thing. That's why this YouTube thing for me is so much freaking fun, because I get to make art and share it with people, and I don't have to leave the house if I don't want to, which a lot of times I don't. Yeah, I'm perfectly happy right now. I don't have the weight of the world on my shoulders. I don't have a mortgage anymore. I paid this place off. I live in a tiny little retirement community where I'm the young chick and everybody else is in their 80s. Kind of nice to be a young chick. I'm living on Social Security, but you know what? So are a lot of other people. I want to show you one more thing that I added to this before I show you my next canvas. I did not like the way these 3 items created kind of a pyramid in the design, so I covered up that painterly looking thing with this, and I'm going to find a way to kind of complete that shape and follow that around and see how things go on here. So that's where that is. And this is where I'd like to go next. And I really love these colors. There's a lot that's very much the same here. So I'm going to have to make sure I work in some contrasting stuff, but I really do like the way all of this stuff looks together. Today is day, I might be on my 4th or 5th day of recording this because I can't seem to put enough time together. So remember that little mobile home I told you I live in? I am on the board of directors for the little community in which I live in. I volunteered to be the president. I naively volunteered to be the president with no real idea of what a president does. I know now, and it's a lot. So even though I'm completely distracted by what's going on with YouTube and my having fun with these videos, I still have this other job to do that has become a big problem for me because this is what I want to be doing. I want to be hanging out with you guys, not writing the minutes and doing all that other kind of jazz, but it is what it is. Okay, I am back for the who knows how many times, and I have to tell you, I have been driving myself crazy with this thing, so it is time for me to button it up. So I have spent probably an entire day trying to pull this together, and this is where I am right now. And you know what? This is where it's going to go. And it may not be my favorite, but it certainly has been a challenge, and I have earnestly worked it. So what I'm going to do, because of the length of this video and because watching somebody glue is tedious, I'm going to, these are pretty much cut up, I'm going to glue them down, I'll speed through that, and then the last thing that we're going to do is take a look at these 3 pieces that I've made and figure out what they need in terms of some pen work and maybe what they don't need. So stick by me and watch me get these things glued down, and once they're dry, we'll pen work. Okay guys, I did it. I didn't think this was ever going to get done, to be honest with you. And you know what? I like it better glued down than I did just sitting there all bumpy. So this is going to go in the window to dry, even though it's a cloudy day. I'm going to let it dry, and I am going to take a look at the first 2 pieces and see what we can figure out what to do with those. I'm going to do some pen work, okay? All right, guys. So this is what I've been working on for the past few days. I had some issues, but you know, technology and life and stuff like that. But this is the first one that I made. It's the quietest of the 3, and I think it's the one that'll probably benefit the most from pen work, because it's not all yelling. Every square is not yelling at you. That's a little bit quieter. This, on the other hand, is yelling at you, but you know what? I still like it. I'm not used to seeing that much contrast in my work, so that's part of the reason why I think it seems noisy, but these are all very fun for me. This is actually my favorite. I love these dirty colors. I don't know how to critique my work. I think I might be able to correct some of the things that I see that I don't love with pen work. So I'll stop talking, and I'm going to detail these, and I hope you enjoy it. I am done with 2 of these pieces, always for now. This one I liked a lot the way it was, and I just gave it a little bit of bling. So that got a signature. And this one was fun for me as well. Probably could use a little more little doodlies. I'd like to bring that line across, but I like that one as well. This one I don't want to use the word regret, but I'm going to. I regret these big giant flowers. I did not think it through, but you know what? I don't think most of my art through. Sometimes I just throw things at it. But you know what? There's things that I can do. There's ways that I can adjust this so that I'm happier with it. So those are the 3 pieces, 2, 3, that I made today with your help, because I can promise you that if if it wasn't for you, this definitely wouldn't have taken place. So thank you if you're still here. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I appreciate you. And look what I just found that is going to do something to save this already, I can tell. Anyways, my name is Cherie Burlington. I'm an artist, an errant, an angel mom, and I really enjoyed making these 3 collages with you today and having you see how this all plays out. I think it was a little ambitious, so I think maybe I should go back to maybe 1 or 2, but I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that you're here. I really enjoyed spending time with you, and thank you so much. See you soon. Oh, you know the things? Oh, I'm so bad at this part. If you'd like to, please like and subscribe and share and do all those things. Thanks, guys. Bye.